But here's the next story. So the day that I flew out, I didn't have time to do anything because it was just travel. So November 1st, November 2nd, I arrived and I didn't have time to do much either, pretty much just sleep. And November 3rd, I didn't do much because I was wiped out from the 2 days before, but I did go to Asda with my host sister. That was really sweet day. And then November 4th, I went to Edinburgh, which was a great visit. And November 5th, I just stayed around Glasgow. I didn't do a ton, but it was Remember the 5th. On November 6th, I went to Balloch. I went to see Loch Lomond and I cried, and it was beautiful. Hopefully I have already put pictures in here. I'm pretty sure I have. If I haven't, I will do that now. And then the next day, so that would be November 7th, I believe, I went back to Edinburgh because I really wanted to do the Underground Vault tour. So it was actually a ghost tour. But, okay guys, so this bench, I wanted to sit on this bench because it was more out of the sun than that bench over there, if you can even see it. But also, the other bench over there, I didn't want the kids in the background. But this bench here has a no back. So I turned and I almost fell out the back. Not really fell, but I wasn't stable anymore. Okay, so on November 7th, I went back to Edinburgh and I did the underground ghost tours of the vaults, which the funny thing is, I wanted to do it earlier in the day, but because too much of the paranormal activity things, if I hear too many stories of like people who have really experienced things, or if I watch too many people on TV like go actual ghost hunting and experience paranormal activities and things like that, I find it really interesting, but I get scared in the middle of the night, which that's not normally me, so I just don't. Like, scary movies don't really bother me, but for some reason that stuff does. Even though like the fake stuff on TV doesn't usually bother me, but like the stories of like real things happening can. So and anytime I've done like haunted houses and stuff like that, I don't get scared of the actual haunted house, but I'm so petrified somebody is going to touch me, and I do not want strange people touching me, and it just it's nothing to do with paranormal. It's just, I'm just like that in general, but in a setting like that, like I know that even though they're not supposed to, they're going to anyway, and I don't like it at all. So when I went, I was really hesitant because I was like, I do not want any weirdos coming up touching me. I know they're staff and it's probably fine, but I still don't want it to happen. But I went, and this was the Market Tours, which if I remember, hopefully I do, I'll link it down below. If you are going to be in Edinburgh and want to do a tour, the Market Tours are a very, very good company. The tour guide that I had was really good. I really very much enjoyed her. She was Polish and German. I think her name was Regina, and she was just really fun. And anyway, so when I went and I bought my ticket, they said that no one was going to jump out at me. They didn't hire actors, nothing like that. That's also what I appreciated about it. It was just going in, touring, and hearing stories from the one guide, and no big show or anything like that. So I was really hesitant to go later in the day because I was like, it's going to be dark and I don't want to get freaked out being by myself. Not that being by myself ever really bothers me, but I knew that I would have to sleep in a different room by myself, and so I didn't want to get to the point of being freaked out there and then going home and having to sleep in this room that I've only been in for a couple of days. It's still strange and whatnot, and feel like that. So I was really hesitant, but so it was later than when I wanted to go because I wanted to go earlier for less chance of that happening. But actually, I went and I really enjoyed the tour, and I actually, oddly enough, I found it peaceful down there. I don't know why. I'll insert a couple of clips. Now. Take too many pictures because it was pretty dark, and I didn't know that we were allowed to film, so I didn't film anything either. However, a lot of it would have probably been dark anyway. However, if you do want to see filming of the tour, Sean Vlog and Moscow Moon both have tours filmed on their channels, and I'll go ahead and link their channels below. I'll try to look those videos up and link those as well. Hopefully I remember. If I don't, somebody comment below and I will look them up after you comment and remind me, and post them in the description. Anyway, so the tour was, I don't know, I just really liked the tour for some reason. I don't know what it was about being down there, but I was very interested. And it was funny because before the tour starts, they're like, nobody go off on your own, stick with the group, don't go off in any of the other vaults on your own, don't go exploring on your own, nothing like that. And I'm just sitting there thinking, it's dark and we don't know where we're going, so who in their right mind would actually want to do that? Well, I got down there and I wanted to do that. I didn't, because I didn't want to get lost, but because there are a lot of vaults and there's no rhyme or reason, because they weren't skilled contractors or anything like that, so they weren't skilled engineers, so there's no rhyme or reason to really how the vaults go, so you could pretty easily get lost in there if you don't stick to the tour. So I didn't go exploring, but I really wanted to, and I don't know what it was, but I found it really peaceful down there, and I was so interested in the history of everything. And maybe that's because America is so new, and so a lot of history doesn't take place here. But anyway, so that was the tour of the vaults, and it was a really good tour. I highly recommend it if you want to do any of the tours. I highly recommend doing the market tours. There are some free ones you can do that aren't market. I don't know how those go. I was going to do one, but it was at the same time as the one that I did with market tours, so I didn't end up doing it. There is one tour that I didn't go on that I would have loved to, and that one I definitely would have wanted to go during the day, but it's the tour of the cemetery. I can't remember which one, but there's only one group that has access to that. And basically in '98 a homeless man tried to rob the grave, and things have been happening since then, so it's no longer open to the public. I can't remember the name of the grave, but another Scottish YouTuber I follow is Beauty Creep. Her name is Erin, and she did the tour a few years back and filmed it. And if I remember, I will link it down below. Again, if I don't remember, please remind me in the comments and I will link it. But it looked really interesting. Definitely something I would want to do during the daytime though. Yeah, I forgot to mention too, while I was in Edinburgh, it was really cool because, so I'm a Patreon of Moscow Moon, which again, she'll be linked in the description box below if you want to check her out. She's amazing. She's got a lot going on right now, but she's still posting once a week. She's freaking amazing. And anyway, so I'm a Patreon of hers, and so she's been sending me postcards from Scotland, and it's been really fun to receive them. It is the highlight of my month for sure. And while I was there, I actually ended up buying some postcards, even some of the same ones that she sent me, and I'm going to give them to friends and family for Christmas, like as Christmas cards. And so that was really cool to be able to do that. If you're already following Moscow Moon, I highly recommend becoming a Patreon if you are not, because the money goes to good use. It goes to things like equipment and being able to do different tours and new videos if they should happen to cost something or whatever. So, highly recommend doing that. Anyway, so after the ghost tour, so I'm coming out of the market ticket office, and this girl hunts me down and stops me. Well, she didn't really hunt me down, but she flagged me down, and she's like, "Hey, you want to see a free comedy show?" And it's a true Scottish comedy, and it was live performers. And I was like, "Is it in that building right there?" Because there was a building right across the street, something to do with a monkey. I can't really remember. If you know the area, you'll know what it is. If you look up on a map, there's something to do with monkey that's like right across the street from it. Some guy watching me film. So it's always so awkward when somebody walks by and they're watching me film. So anyway, I had looked at that building and I was like, intrigued. What is that building? Do I want to go in? Do I want to see what it is? Do I want to explore? Nah, I'll just keep walking. And so she asks about the comedy and we start walking that direction, and I was like, oh, this is the building I was considering going in anyway. So here we go. It was meant to be. It was nothing weird. I could tell she was a worker and not some random person going to murder me or something, so it was safe, don't worry. But I ended up watching this comedy show. Here are some pictures. Again, I didn't know if it was okay to film on that one, so I definitely didn't, because there was somebody filming, so it looked kind of professional. I don't really know though, because it was free, and I don't know why it was free either. It was like on the backside of a bar, so maybe it was to get people to buy drinks. I don't really know. Or maybe they were amateurs and they were trying to boost their audience, but the two guest comedians were not from around there. They I don't know if they flew in or took a train in or whatever, but they were not from around there, and they came in for the show, so it didn't seem completely amateur. I don't really know why it was free, but it was free, and it was funny, and it was amazing to be able to see a Scottish comedy show. Yes. So, don't know what that was about. Sorry about that. Okay, so on my way back from Edinburgh to Glasgow, I ended up, I took the train and I ended up sitting in a spot where this big group of people ended up coming and sitting around me. And they ended up being super nice. They were from Glasgow originally, and they were doing charity work. That's what they were out doing. But they were really nice, and it was really cool to... the whole conversation started because I had something sitting on the little table, and the tables are really small. I'll try and insert a clip. If I found one, then you know what it looks like. If I didn't find one, I'm sorry. But they were really small, little triangle tables, and I had something sitting there, and it was actually garbage because I was done with it, but at that point they had to all sat down, and so I was gonna throw it away on my way off because it was only like half an hour left. And anyway, so he put his iPhone there because he was gonna charge it or something along those lines, and he knocked off my garbage, and one of the other guys so sweetly threw it away for me, and he was complaining about how there was no room on the trains, the tables weren't big enough and whatnot, and I'm like, the public transportation system here is absolutely amazing. So Scotland, UK, you guys have an amazing public transportation system, and so from that from that little statement there, we ended up talking for a little while, and I didn't get to know any of them very well, but it was really cool to be able to have a conversation on the train with some locals who were just really nice and out there doing charity work. And the guy that was sitting across from me, actually, we ended up getting on the same subway afterwards. And I think he got off a stop after I did. But it was kind of, it was just kind of funny. Which, you know, if we were all going to Glasgow, obviously some of us probably were taking the same route. But it was still fun to just be a local for a couple of days. Anyway, my point is, everybody that I met in Glasgow, everybody that I met in Edinburgh, everybody that I met pretty much everywhere, Bollock, I didn't really meet anybody in Bollock though. It was pretty much just Edinburgh and Glasgow that I was meeting people, and everybody was just so incredibly nice, and I just love Scottish people. I just want to say that. Okay, next story. Alright, so we are in Edinburgh right now. We're gonna go on a ghost tour in a little bit. Well, I am. And there are some very beautiful sights. Let me show you the castle. So I'm near Princess Street right now. You can see the little Ferris wheel, and the castle is back over